Internet goes haunted, chats with small talk. Live stream dreams in a bubble where they dark. 20 eyes peeking like snakes in the grass, making moves real slow, trying to build a fan base fast. Ain't nobody giving a damn about 20 viewers any. Scroll right past, ain't no work when you candy. Keep hustling, keep grinding, that's the plan, G. One day you'll be king steady, dreaming about that Grammy. Keyboard warrior fighting for that recognition. Only fans in this room got that air conditioner. Sweaty palms pressing keys for breakthrough. 20 views steady drowning in the digital, quite my dude. Ain't nobody giving a damn about 20 viewers any. Scroll right past, ain't no work when you candy. Keep hustling, keep grinding, that's the plan, G. One day you'll be king steady, dreaming about that Grammy. Inner seeing faces, trying to stand out. Noise drowning hopes, cloud of doubt, no clout. Virtual stage, but the spotlight dim. Many clicking past, ain't feeling him. Waiting for the moment, blow up like a piston. Haters gonna hate, but persistence gonna glisten. Hold tight, 20 times 200 someday. Laugh in the face, shouting who wants some pay. Nobody giving a damn about 20 viewers any. Scroll right past, ain't no work, then you candy. Keep hustling, keep grinding, that's the plan, G. One day you'll be king, steady dreaming about that Grammy. Keyboard warrior fighting for that recognition. Only fans in this room got that air conditioner. Sweaty palms pressing keys for breakthrough. 20 views steady drowning in the digital, quite my dude. Ain't nobody giving a damn about 20 viewers any. Scroll right past, ain't no work, then you candy. Keep hustling, keep grinding, that's the plan, G. One day you'll be king, steady dreaming about that Grammy. In a sea of faces, trying to stand out. Noise drowning hopes, cloud of doubt, no clout. Virtual stage, but the spotlight dim. Many clicking past, ain't feeling him. Waiting for the moment, blow up like a piston. Haters gonna hate, but persistence gonna glisten. Hold tight, 20 times 200 someday. Laugh in the face, shouting who wants some pay. Waiting for the moment, blow up like a piston. Haters gonna hate, but persistence gonna glisten. Hold tight, 20 times 200 someday. Laugh in the face, shouting who wants some pay. The globus never sleeps, man, the mind's always restless. Night owl in the shadows, time moves like a chess set. While the world dozes off, I'm constructing my schemes. Blueprints of the future in the fragments of dreams. Sleep is the cousin of death, I'm avoiding the kin. Eyes wide open, let the journey begin. Through the labyrinth of thought where the weak hearts break. But I'm digging through the darkness, chasing dawn before it wakes. The globus never sleeps, cause sleep is the cousin of death. I'm out here breathing deep, while the rest waste their breath. No rest for the wicked, I'm wide-eyed and driven. In the silence of the night, my thoughts stay vivid. Ink spills from the pen like a river through my veins, flooding every page with the echoes of the pain. I'm a wordsmith with a purpose, carving truths from the lies. When the world's counting sheep, I'm counting how time flies. Insomniac mind, every second is a weapon. In the war against the clock, I'm always stepping. Sleep's a cousin I disown, no comfort in the night. Just a canvas for my thoughts painted in the twilight. The globus never sleeps, cause sleep is the cousin of death. I'm out here breathing deep, while the rest waste their breath. No rest for the wicked, I'm wide-eyed and driven. In the silence of the night, my thoughts stay vivid. Dreams Dreams are for the sleeping, but I'm living in the real. Grinding through the dark where the truth is revealed. Every thought a spark, every line a fuse. I'm a torch in the night, no time left to lose. The world's spinning slow, but my mind's in a race. Chasing every moment, there's no time to waste. Eyes like a hawk, seeing every crack and crevice. In this waking life, every second is precious. I keep my thoughts sharp like a blade in the night. While they're lost in their dreams, I'm honing my sight. Sleep is a cousin I've learned to forget, cause the globus never sleeps, there's no time to rest yet. The globus never sleeps, cause sleep is the cousin of death. I'm out here breathing deep, while the rest waste their breath. No rest for the wicked, I'm wide-eyed and driven. In the silence of the night, my thoughts stay vivid. Never sleeps, cause sleep is the cousin of death. I'm out here breathing deep, while the rest waste their breath. No rest for the wicked, I'm wide-eyed and driven. In the silence of the night, my thoughts stay vivid. Oh yeah, dreams are for the sleeping, but I'm living in the real. Grinding through the dark where the truth is revealed. Every thought a spark, every line a fuse. I'm a torch in the night, no time left to lose. The world never sleeps, cause sleep is the cousin of death. I'm out here breathing deep, while the rest waste their breath. No rest for the wicked, I'm wide-eyed and driven. In the silence of the night, my thoughts stay vivid. My thoughts stay vivid. In the silence of the night, my thoughts stay vivid.
Morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Check, check, check. Audio was being weird this morning, as per spec. Good morning, PETA. Good morning, Red Hobbit. Good morning, bots. Good morning, lurkers. Good morning, Cosmic. Good morning, YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, like, subscribe, hit that bell to stay notified. Stampy is, if you're in the Discord, there's a picture in the Discord of a cardboard box with paper in it, and that is Stampy's new box. They are very happy, and they are in that box all the time. So that's currently where Stampy is right now. All right. So we got some potentially major news in the world of science. Science. And that is subscribe to Interesting Engineering. No. Magical equation unites quantum physics and Einstein's general relativity in a first. For the first time, we have an equation that connects the cosmic realm with the quantum world in ways never before imagined. For the first time, a mathematical framework proves that Einstein's theory of general relativity, which explains the relationship between space-time and gravity, is in alignment with quantum physics, the branch of science that describes the behavior of electrons, photons, and other fundamental particles. We proved that the Einstein field equation from general relativity is actually a relativistic quantum mechanical equation. The researchers note in their study, In simple words, this new framework connects the science that governs the macroscopic world with that of the microscopic world. Therefore, it has the potential to explain every physical phenomenon known to humanity, ranging from the mysterious dark matter in space to the photons emitted by your phone's flashlight. To date, no globally accepted theory has been proposed to explain all physical observations. They claim that their theory can challenge the foundation of physics and change the understanding of the universe. Einstein's theory of general relativity explains how gravity works. It says that massive objects like planets, stars, or galaxies bend the fabric of space and time around them like a heavy ball on a trampoline. This bending creates what we feel as gravity. So instead of thinking of gravity as an invisible force pulling objects together, general relativity shows that objects move along curves in the warped space around them. The more massive the object, the more it bends space, and the stronger the gravitational effect. Quantum physics, on the other side, is concerned with the study of the unusual behavior of the tiniest particles in the universe. For instance, it investigates how particles such as electrons can exist in multiple states or locations at once, known as superposition, until we measure them. This type of strange behavior is not found in the objects we deal with regularly. Until now, scientists have failed to reconcile general relativity and quantum physics because the two theories describe the universe in fundamentally different ways. When attempts were made to apply both theories together, such as in the case of black holes, they produced contradictory results, making it difficult to unify them into a single framework. For example, general relativity predicts a black hole's core is infinitely dense, while quantum physics suggests such infinities can't exist. This is a big deal, right? This is a first. Given ahead to link them, the researchers developed a mathematical framework that redefined the mass and charge of leptons, fundamental particles, in terms of the interactions between the energy of the field and curvature of spacetime. The obtained equation is covariant in spacetime and invariant with respect to any Planck scale. Therefore, the constants of the universe can be reduced to only two quantities, Planck length and Planck time. Hold on to your papers, fellow scholars. What a time to be alive. All right. Sorry, one moment. One moment. Do. There we go. All right. Do. All right. So, Roblox has some less than ideal, less than savory elements to it, as many things do on the internet. But in the broad sense, good morning, Reed. In the broad sense, if you have ever seen what Roblox is actually capable of, it's quite impressive. Basically, if there's a AAA game, if there's any type of game that you can think of that hits the market, shortly thereafter there will be a Roblox version of that game. It has a lot going for it in terms of creating games having a system whereby you can create games, right? Excuse me. Roblox is launching a generative AI that builds 3D environments in a snap. It will make it easy to build new game environments on the platform, even if you don't have any design skills. Roblox plans to roll out a generative AI tool that will let creators make whole 3D scenes just using text prompts, it announced today. Once it's up and running, developers on the hugely popular online game platform will be able to simply generate a racetrack in the desert, for example, and the AI will spin one up. Excuse me. Users will also be able to modify scenes and expand their scope, say to change a daytime scene to night or switch the desert to a forest. Although developers can already create similar scenes like this manually in the platform's creator studio, Roblox claims its new generative AI model will make the changes happen in a fraction of the time. It also claims that it will give developers with minimal 3D art skills the ability to craft more compelling environments. The firm didn't give a specific date for when the tool will be live. Developers are already excited. Instead of sitting and doing it by hand, now you can test different approaches. Says Marcus Holstrom, CEO of The Gang, a company that builds some of the top games on Roblox. Good morning, Adam. For example, if you're going to build a mountain, you can do different types of mountains, and on the fly, you can change it. And then we would tweak it and fix it manually so it fits. It's going to save a lot of time. Roblox's new tool works by tokenizing the 3D blocks that make up its millions of in game worlds, or treating them as units that can be assigned to a numerical value on the basis of how likely they are to come next in a sequence. This is similar to the way in which a large language model handles words or fractions of words. If you put the capital of France is into a large language model like GPT-4, it assesses what the next token is most likely to be. In this case, it will be Paris. Roblox's system handles 3D blocks in much the same way to create the environment, block by most likely next block. Finding a way to do this has been difficult for a couple of reasons. One, there's far less data on 3D environments than there is for text. To train its models, Roblox has had to rely on user-generated data from creators as well as external data sets. Finding high-quality 3D information is difficult. Even if you get all the data sets that you would think of, being able to predict the next cube requires it to have literally 3 dimensions, X, Y, and Z. The lack of 3D data can create weird situations where objects appear in unusual places. A tree in the middle of your racetrack, for example. To get around this issue, Roblox will use a second AI model that has been trained on more plentiful 2D data pulled from open source and licensed data sets to check the work of the first one. Basically, while one AI is making 3D environments, the 2D model will convert the new environment to 2D and assess whether or not the image is logically consistent. If the images don't make sense and you have, say, a cat with 12 arms driving a race car, the 3D AI generates a new block again and again until the 2D AI approves. Roblox game designers will still need to be involved in crafting fun game environments for the platform's millions of players. A lot of level generators will produce something that's plain and flat. You need a human guiding hand. Kind of like people trying to do an essay with ChatGPT for class. It is also going to open up a conversation about what does it mean to do good player responsive level design. The new tool is part of Roblox's push to integrate AI into all of its processes. The company currently has 250 AI models live. One AI analyzes voice chat in real time and screens for bad language, instantly issuing reprimands and possible bans for repeated infractions. Roblox plans to open source its 3D foundation model so that it can be modified and used as a basis for innovation. We're doing it in open source, which means anybody, including our competitors, can use this model. Also, a big goddamn deal. It's a hell of a Monday. It is a hell of a Monday. Dear AI, this is from Forrester.com. Dear AI, please change the world already. Agreed. Generative AI arrived in 2022 with massive expectations, promising to transform everything. But 2 years later, the initial excitement is what a time to be alive. Hold on to your papers, fellow scholars. I'm dying again. All right. Generative AI arrived in 2022 with massive expectations, promising to transform everything. But 2 years later, the initial excitement is shifting to skepticism, with many now demanding, show me the money. Nothing like a show me the money reference in 2024. While no one doubts AI's potential, the pressing question remains: when will AI truly deliver, and should your organization wait or dive in now? While this is a valid moment in time to be asking these questions, as enterprises navigate the scope and scale of AI adoption, we are on the brink of a profound technological transformation. But like all human changes, it's going to take time. Forrester has released a new report titled Change the Interface, Change the World, in which we take the long term view, spanning 10 to 20 years, during a time period when we believe that we are merely at the beginning of a new era of AI computing, an era when intuitive. One moment. It's one of those sneezes. It's like, all right, I think we're okay. In which we take the long term view spanning 10 to 20 years during a time period when we believe that we are merely at the beginning of a new era of AI computing, an era when intuitive AI driven interfaces and powerful AI agents will redefine how companies interact with people. We refer to this shift as AI computing because the technological leap is as significant as the transition from the internet to mobile computing. Mobile meant meeting people at their moment of need. AI computing will change human needs over time. This is a disruptive force we have not seen before. Imagine if you handed a 1950s office worker a BlackBerry and asked them to envision the mobile revolution. We're in a similar moment with AI. AI's potential far exceeds what we can practically conceive of happening today. But consider this: experts constantly point out how AI advances are arriving far faster than anticipated. Recently, a Google researcher developed a neural network that recreated a playable version of the classic game Doom without traditional game engine coding. I was not a BlackBerry person, so I don't have that, but I understand that if you were a BlackBerry person, then yeah, like there's a part of you that longs for return to BlackBerry. Meanwhile, Sakana AI, a Japanese research firm, recently demonstrate an AI agent that can produce weak accept grade academic papers for a mere $15 in computing costs. In Sakana AI's blog, they reflect on how what was once a joke among AI researchers, having AI write research papers for them, is now almost a reality. These examples are just the beginning. AI computing will wipe away decades of junk websites, thousands of apps, and old stale data. It will redefine business models as it goes. Our report identifies 3 key paths of change that AI computing will drive. AI computing will create AI advantaged lives. AI will empower individuals with tools that make their daily lives more seamless. Advanced technologies will become more accessible, intuitive, and responsive, driving new ways of living and working. AI's ability to understand and respond to human needs personally and in real time will be central to this shift, and this transformation will take time, as the pace at which humans can embrace change is always a limiting factor, not to mention that our models need to get a lot better, and they will. AI computing will enable companies to reinvent knowledge economies. AI will reshape how companies create value through knowledge. AI native work processes will emerge from simple task automations, creating new opportunities to serve AI advantaged humans. This reinvention won't happen overnight, as billions of people live, create, and work in entirely new ways. Businesses and governments will need to try, and often fail, to innovate around new needs. Morning, Mousy. How you doing, homie? AI computing will revolutionize high technology markets. Language based methods of creating software are set to replace traditional coding. Businesses that are dependent on complex, expensive software will be challenged, while opportunities abound. This transition will take time, driven by technology refresh cycles and a rapid pace of innovation that will inevitably lead many AI technology innovators down dead ends. And then it's, building a knowledge loop and joining Forrester's thingy. BTW, I finished Utopia for Realists. That thing went so fast. It was short, right? A normal book that I've been reading takes 12 to 15 hours, audio book to get through, and this was only like around 6, so it's shorter. But it's also like highly compelling. I would recommend it. And if the initial part might turn you off, or the fact that the framing is, especially for a lot of you, it's not from a leftist point of view. There's value in that, right? Because while you and I might easily think that we need something like AI or UBI in order to to progress forward, to take care of people, so on and so forth. There are political, ideological, and economic views that are going to appear, at least, to be naturally predisposed to feeling the opposite. And this is an argument from one of those standpoints on why we need UBI and other things. So go in with an open mind, get past the first part, which might offend some of your sensibilities. And then once you get into like chapter, not sure if it's chapter 1 or chapter 2. I think it's chapter 2, was when the whole UBI argument really takes off. And it's written by a Dutch person. So it's someone more familiar with the European style of social safety net than the American style. So, Utopia for Realists. And the book that I moved on to is, I haven't even barely, we've only just begun. It's Donut Economics. So, that's the next one on my list. All right, let's touch in with the how ChatGPT is destroying our educational system, or something to that effect. Teacher caught students using ChatGPT on their first assignment to introduce themselves. Eep. The article discusses a recent incident where students were caught using ChatGPT for a simple introductory assignment into a philosophy class at the University of Arkansas at Little Rock. This event has sparked a debate about the use of AI in education. The incident. Assistant Professor Megan Fritz discovered students using ChatGPT for a basic assignment to introduce themselves and state their expectation of the class. Fritz shared her experience on social media, garnering significant attention. Teacher's perspective. Fritz argues that the assignment was not busy work, but intended to help students acclimate to the online platform and express their expectations. She believes that AI generated responses fail to reflect individual student perspectives. So, my friend Jmart, who has appeared on this program, to talk about how AI is. What up, Stamby? Stamby's here. Hold on. Multiple things are happening at once. He's learning. He's learning. He needs to sit in the chair to get treats. Oh shit, Stampy came in on. There we go. What up, Doc? It's something really impressive that the moose, the 1,000-pound cat, can sit on the tiny little arm of that computer chair comfortably. That's it. Just 2 snacks. Okay. So my friend tells me that unbeknownst to him, his son, who has some, special needs and whatnot and so forth, has been accessing ChatGPT to write stories as part of, like, hold on, I'm going to use his own words. Meow. Sorry, the Bills football game was yesterday, so I have to scroll back through all our conversations about the. And I think it's interesting, right? Like as another, Dr. Yasmin is not Professor Q. Those are two different, um, highly educated friends of the stream. Um, the the nature of technology at one point in time, in order to like join around a sporting event, you needed to be in physical proximity to people, and now you can have like an experience where you're connected digitally, right? Like, so we can have a conversation around the ongoing sporting event, and in spite of the fact that we weren't all in the same place, because like different people, he always wants it to, he wants snacks is what he wants. um like one of the friends had to be at a place with other people. um some friends don't really leave the house that much, that kind of thing. Um, so he's been using ChatGPT for months to write this continual novel. He's got almost 1,000 pages written with characters, designs, or characters, dialogue, settings, the works. It's actually quite good. Some of it is actually pretty emotional. He said he uses it to write down how he's feeling and imagine all the possible outcomes of a situation. Um, football. Been reading more of his creative writing. He's written an entire multiverse. He has four characters converse on the differences of his worlds he's creating. What different life choices they made that makes their world different. Their reactions to certain prompts. It's really cool and interesting. Now, admittedly, he is the father of the child, and therefore that might flavor his experience in some way. But by the same, token, I think that that's amazing, right? So one of the places where hallucinations, don't matter is in the realm of creative writing. And we watched a guy talk about exactly that, how um hallucinations are not a bug but a feature, right? So if I'm doing creative activities, the idea of the hallucinations, imagining things that aren't actually, you know, directly related to real existence as we currently understand it, they are like, that's what you want. That's how you imagine new things and everything else. So the fact that this kid who is 11 is using this tool to create like a multi point of view story to work not only through the creative process but also his own emotional feelings. what more do you fucking want? Right? Like, isn't that the point of this all? Isn't that what the creation of art is supposed to do? Anyway, back to Miss Fritz. Debate on AI in education. Some argue that ChatGPT is just another problem solving tool similar to calculators in math. Fritz counters his view, stating that in humanities, the goal is to shape critical thinking, not just produce answers. Broader implications impact on students concerned about technology addiction affecting students' attention spans and reading abilities, potential long term changes in human agency and concentration due to technology use. Educators' challenges debate over whether to incorporate AI into curricula or form a united front against its use. You will only make the students more clever, right, at hiding the use of the tool. But maybe that's better, right? maybe that will teach them how to become more like capable and creative in the use of the tool, as if they're not allowed to use the tool and use the tool anyways. We shall find out. Some educators are reverting to pen and paper assignments to combat AI usage. This, I find this offensive on face because there are certain children who have a great deal of difficulty writing with pen and paper, and they use laptop, Chromebook, iPad, some tablet, this kind of thing as part of their IEP in school in order to do those assignments. So this view right here of reverting to pen and paper assignments is structurally ableist, and it can fuck itself. Many teachers feel overwhelmed and conflicted about how to address AI in the classroom. Maybe if we had an actual board or Department of Education that had a unified discussion over how we should do this, because we've had 2 years, right? As soon as ChatGPT dropped, someone at the Department of Ed should have been on top of like this, right? Like how is this going to affect literally everything? What are we going to do? This is a failure of, the organization to address these concerns. Bit of casual unconscious ableism is there, yeah. And yeah, I'm not saying that they are trying to like, they're trying to do what they can with what they have, right? But it's still there. It's still, a structural ableist mentality. And I speak like directly because my son has that as part of his IEP, is that, he gets to use a tool in order to write long essays. At least 22 state education departments have released guidelines for AI use in schools. 22 out of 50? That's less than half. Some universities, like Arizona State, are embracing AI by partnering with OpenAI. The incident highlights the growing tension between technological advancement and traditional educational methods. As AI becomes more prevalent, educators and institutions are grappling with how to adapt their teaching strategies while maintaining academic integrity and fostering critical thinking skills. Welcome in, Human. How to address it? What needs to be addressed is educators who are bad at their jobs and unable to teach students effectively. I mean that's a little more aggressive than I would put that, i.e., in a way where they know how to do the task properly and don't feel they need to just yeet out any random thing because they don't really know what they're doing or how to plan their work properly. So it is challenging enough to be a teacher without having direction. Now, don't get me wrong, humans or teachers are humans, ergo to wit, they are subject to all the same pressures as anyone else, including how they are resistant to change, right? Like I already have how everything works. I don't want to learn a new thing. I don't have time to learn a new thing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the other is, um, responsibility without the necessary guidance, right? Like if a teacher tries something different, something new, um, then that teacher could be responsible for the outcomes, right? And will be responsible for the outcomes. And because the teacher will be responsible for the outcomes, they need to somebody's got to have their back, right? Otherwise, they are responsible for everything, and fuck them. And especially in the United States, we have strongly differing views about teachers as they as they pertain to the educational process. It's more aggressive than I'd put it, probably due to my experiences. High schools, in my opinion, utterly fail the vast majority of students who end up at university, which leads people like me who have to teach basic academic skills to classes full of people at undergrad level who can't even plan an essay. And I'm with you on that. But that is a systemic issue versus like something that's inherent within the teachers themselves, right? Like, can you imagine working at a place in which, you have to do um I mean, look at whatever it is you do, and then if you had to, you need to buy more supplies because your company's not going to supply you enough supplies to do your job properly. And oh, by the way, there's going to be a bunch of customers or parents of customers who are very upset with everything that you do, and you're going to have to put in a lot of unpaid overtime, and so on and so on and so on and so forth. And now artificial intelligence. So, right, like, I get what you're coming from, Dr. Yasmin, and it's not that I disagree. It's it's a systemic issue. How do we do systemic issues? Underfunded schools and teachers, gridlock curricula, overcrowded class sizes. Like, look what they did. The last time they tried to do something was with Common Core. And whatever you think of Common Core, the rollout of it was handled pretty poorly and didn't receive enough funding and didn't educate the parents, didn't provide any support. It's our educational system is often very ad hoc, right? Like, it's just throw something together that works and figure it out, as opposed to really thinking it through and how we're going to do it. In a lot of places, the curriculum is a top-down sort of deal, which individual teachers can't deviate from a whole lot. But I would say high schools, at least in the US and Australia, have woefully failed to educate their students in a way that prepares them to do academic work effectively. And again, I don't disagree. A lot of, like in this piece here, right? Miss Fritz's concerns are based in the idea that they need critical thinking skills. They need to be able to express their own perspective. So I don't want to attack Megan Fritz over their desired outcome, right? Like, and their goals and who they are as a teacher. I think that they are in a situation that is, that none of us, unenvious, right? Like, none of us would wish to be in the situation that they are in, because again, we've had 2 years with ChatGPT, and everyone is scrambling to try and figure out how we're going to work with it. It absolutely should not be commonplace that so many undergrads don't have a goddamn clue, even in their 3rd year, how to write or plan an essay. Meanwhile, when I actually deviate from my own planned coursework to teach them these skills, more often than not, they don't hire essay writers or use AI because they know it's easier to get a better result by just doing it yourself. But they need to know how to actually work effectively to do that. I feel you. I know you hate analogies. I hate metaphors. And it's not that I hate metaphors. I hate the execution of metaphors. I think most people's metaphors suck ass. This is like roaring down a motorway and saying that you appreciate the detail of the countryside when you just skim over the surface. See, I don't understand what you mean at all. There's also the chronological component. What in this commentary that I've been giving you, Cosmic, is what you're responding to, right? This is why what I have tried to do more in my chatting is that if things are going very quickly, um things are going very quickly in the stream, chats back and forth, things are all over the place. Re-referencing the point that you're talking about is helpful so that the streamer can understand what portion of the stream you're responding to. Um, it's kind of like, again, when you're talking about essays, right, and how you're supposed to write an essay, or at least how I was taught to write an essay, is you take the question and you reformat the question in your response so that the person understands the structure of what you're talking about. Eminem, all my rap battles, they've been in service of impressing Globus. I have failed you, my lord. Like Marshall gonna do Marshall, and um, I understand his most popular songs. It is his chart topping songs, but "Till I Collapse" is actually his best song, and Fantano can suck it if he disagrees. All right. FedEx invests in AI robotics company Nimble to boost its supply chain business. FedEx said on Thursday it has invested in AI robotics and autonomous technology company Nimble to help scale up the delivery giant's fulfillment unit, which adds small and medium-sized businesses in fulfilling aids small and medium-sized businesses in fulfilling orders and managing inventory. Parcel delivery companies are ramping up investments in automation in an effort to cut down costs and boost efficiency at a time when freight demand remains subdued. FedEx said the investment would help streamline its supply chain capabilities across North America through Nimble's automated third party logistics solutions. Our strategic alliance and financial investment with Nimble expands our footprint in the e commerce space, helping to further scale our FedEx fulfillment offering across North America. The companies did not disclose the size of the investment. I wonder if FedEx has a long term view of making a federated Amazon, as opposed to like Amazon, which owns every, the selling portion, and then handles the shipping. FedEx handles the shipping, and through something like this, and maybe I'm way off base, don't get me wrong. But I wonder if they're like trying to empower the small e-commerce business and let them handle the selling individually, and them being the one-stop shop for fulfillment and delivery. Something to think about. Oh, no, 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 no. All right. Christian Stadler. Christian Stadler over at Forbes says the generative AI hype is almost over. What? What is your issue? What is your issue, my dude? What is your issue? You already got snacks. You don't get other snacks. I know you have food in your bowl. The graph. All right. Uh, a recent Rand Corporation report showed that 80% of AI projects fail. Define AI project, please and thank you. That's twice the failure rate of other information technology projects. Nonetheless, ChatGPT, the company that kicked off the generative AI frenzy 2 years ago, is expected to get $100 billion valuation once it closes its next funding. It would also define fail. Surprised? Don't be. Right? Like, we have to add in things like the Rabbit R1 as an AI project that failed, right? It's an AI project that never should have existed. It wasn't an AI project. It was an app. It was, and not a, it turns out a good app at that, but like it just sucked ass. But somehow people gave their money to it. Whatever. The hype around new technologies usually continues even if they do not deliver on their initial promise up to a point. According to the Gartner hype cycle, which again is not actually good at much, inflated expectations will be followed by a trough of disillusionment. Generative AI is probably at the you made a declarative statement that generative AI hype is almost over. And then down here you couch it in qualifiers. Is probably at this turning point right now. A Gartner report in June suggested we are stacking qualifiers out here. This does not mean that the advances in large language models have not been real, but alerts us to the difficulty of translating technology into economic growth engines. We simply expect too much in too soon. Technology historian Carlotta Perez explains that primary technologies like LLMs always require a secondary wave of technology innovation that involves the development of applications and adjustments of organizational structures. Electricity, for example, only became impactful once electric motors were developed and production lines in factories were reorganized to leverage these inventions. Um, Press X to doubt, right? Like, don't get me wrong. The impact on industry once you had electric motors and were able to add them to factories and so on and so forth. That's when it became impactful in that environment. But electricity had a lot of other impacts around that. That's not like qualifying, couching the terms of this article or opinion piece is is like you are. It's a straw man, right? They're strawmanning their own opinion, their own position. It's wild. Okay. What? You mean crazy pants? You cannot have more snacks. Suggestion number one, use Gen AI like Google. Do not use Gen AI like Google. Use Perplexity like Google, which technically is Gen AI, but is different than, say, ChatGPT. Um, what? But he doesn't want love. He wants snacks. I know he wants snacks. What do you do when you're trying to find out the difference between machine learning and Gen AI? You Google it, you Perplexity it. Google then provides you with a list of links where you can dive into the specifics. Google provides you with a list of links, and then you have to sort through them to decide what's relevant. And with things like SEO and advertising, it makes that process more difficult because you don't necessarily know if what you're reading is an educational article about generative AI and machine learning, or is actually a sales pitch for a 6-week course on the basics of machine learning and generative AI. That's why Perplexity is better. More recently, you can also get a brief AI generated answer. In most cases, this will suffice. You can also pose the question in a Gen AI application to start with. This has the advantage of starting a conversation where you can ask further questions. Okay, so they're saying perplexity without saying perplexity. Um, Hallucination can be an issue, but for many questions, it's not your primary concern. Disagree. Again, having something that can reference the sources by which you come to your conclusions helps to prevent hallucinations and provide you with education, which is the ideal outcome. Um, if it is, you can always dive into the specifics afterwards. Learning is not a linear process anyway. True. While using Gen AI this way is efficient, the less obvious yet more important benefit is the gradual familiarization with AI tools. With time, you figure out which prompts are more effective and how you can separate fact from fiction with higher accuracy. You will also learn for which tasks to best use tools. When I asked executives in my MBA class, they named you're one of those. They named two different types of tasks. Some use it to replace relatively simple tasks, which previously they outsourced, ergo helping them draft a press release or a very straightforward legal document, one that is not high stakes. Others use it to come up with new ideas, looking for examples from other industries which face similar issues. What? What's east? From an organization perspective, the wide use of Gen AI is a necessary precursor to more ambitious integration of AI into its operations. If people are not comfortable with the technology, they will resist, full stop. Suggestion number 2, view AI as a change project, not a tech project. Explain. It's easy to see AI primarily from the technical angle. This is a big mistake. Adopting AI requires new business processes and new behaviors. Inertia is a strong force which is hard to overcome. True. Making people comfortable with this is what we talked about in relation to education earlier, right? Making people comfortable with the new technology in principle is only the first step. I can speak cat. I just don't know what I'm saying. Um you need a smart transformation plan. Eric Siegel provides one in the AI playbook, Mastering the Rare Art of Machine Learning Deployment. Using UPS as an example, his first insight is that big promises usually scare people more than they inspire them. When Jack Lewis started to develop a system that predicts tomorrow's deliveries and prescribes more efficient delivery routes for drivers, he deliberately decided to first concentrate on assigning packages to trucks via deliver prediction. May not have been as grand, but it also required less change, making it more attractive to senior management and easier to implement. Siegel's second insight Siegel's second insights is that labeling matters. Proofreading matters too, my dude. Um, you should do that. Your AI initiative will appear less threatening when it sounds mundane. Um, yes, with a but, right? And maybe when it comes to business, this is the way to go. Um, but those of us within this space, specifically me, right? And y'all, right? Because you get to see the and we go over the different um ways that people speak about AI, right? And this is part of the issue, right? That people perceive because of that which has come before and the way that people talk about it in a mundane way, they perceive the transformational properties of AI as mundane, slow, um, you know, we have to see what we can do with it, what's going to happen. It's not a big deal. We've had AI since the 1950s. That's not real AI. It's sparkling machine learning, all that kind of crap. So, yes, and also no. Considering the change is scary, that's a good thing. Save the big words for the presentations once you have won. Initially go with something like operational improvements. And operational improvements is not something you can put in the hands of regular people because it sounds like what it is, which is corpo speak. And they're going to react to corpo speak in the ways as driven by their ideology, right? You hear operational improvements, you are going to say that sounds like more work for me. Finally, the benefits of change are best appreciated when leaders experience them. Jack took a skeptical UPS executive whose initial reaction had been, "So, are you working on anything important on a ride where the route was prescribed by the algorithm?" At one point, a counterintuitive turn was taken, leaving some packages that were close by for later to create a more efficient route. This is when it dawned on the executive how the new system could reduce costs substantially. And that's the separation between management and labor, right? Like that um there are things that happen on the labor side that management might, feel is counterintuitive, but is in fact correct. Um which is also let's not overstate that human beings, whether they be management or labor, can also become resistant to change due to inertia. So um that's just even with this smart transformation approach, it took years to fully integrate AI into UPS's delivery system. Today, it is a central component of the company's overall optimization system. Each year, it saves 185 million miles of driving and $350 million in costs. AI hype is ending, AI gains are not. Christian, you haven't proven the first part, other than to say that the people who invented the Gartner hype cycle say that the AI is in heading towards a trough of disillusionment in the AI hype cycle, and they didn't demonstrate that either. And you can't unless they have a magic ball, unless they have the Palantir, unless they can do the thing. Um, it's a you require historical context in order to judge where you were at any particular time on the terrain. Companies are already benefiting from AI in general and Gen AI in particular, and will continue to do so. But like all new technology, this is not a magic formula, and the trickiest bit is adjusting operations. The hype may have peaked and may not have peaked as you are couching everything in qualifiers and you know it. But if firms adopt the right strategy to incorporating AI into their operations, the gains are only just beginning. I mean, I read the entire thing, right? Like, this is your king. I love it. I love it. All right. So I had talked on many occasions about, as related to robots, right? Like, for robots, why, in spite of our everything being set up for bipedal humanoids, while we don't necessarily have to do that with robots. And I talked about the wheelchairs that can climb stairs, right? Because stairs are often one of those types of obstacles that can be very challenging in order to get past. And by, like, and don't get me wrong, I'm like 100% in favor of accessible, like, I think stairs are, you know, kind of overrated. They allow you to decrease the footprint of the plane. You can do steeper stairs than you can do a ramp, but you have to do ramps anyways to figure it out. Um, and also, I love this quality Photoshop here. So, this robotic wheelchair can climb stairs. Korea's Institute of Machinery and Materials unveiled a pretty cool robotic wheelchair this week by creating a compliant wheel that conforms to the terrain around it. These engineers have created an early version of a wheelchair that can climb stairs and traverse rocky terrain. The wheels use a smart chain structure, which means that the chain on the wheels attaches to spokes that change tension when confronted with changes in the terrain. Team says that this design was inspired by the surface tension properties of water droplets, which are rounded by gravity. And then there's a video that we're not going to watch at this point in time. But you can see, right, like how this works. And you've probably seen videos of these types of wheels, like in a short on Facebook or YouTube, in which you have these wheels, these tires that don't have they don't have air in them, right? Like, and so they're at least in the idea of, like, oh, we should definitely have these kind of videos. The idea of having airless tires for going over terrain has its own benefits. They're also like often said that that we'd use this on Mars or on that kind of shit. And it makes sense, right? Like, its ability to deform and conform to the surface increases the amount of surface contact between the wheel and the the terrain that it's trying to go over, and therefore gives you the ability to climb stairs or go over, at least theoretically, rocky terrain. Um, I have questions about the stability of this particular unit. Like a four-wheel thing might have benefits, but then that increases the footprint of the vehicle itself. So it's something to consider, though. But this is the thing that I was trying to reference when saying that robots don't necessarily need legs. Let's say not all robots need legs. I like ramps. They benefit those with disabilities, and for those with able bodies, they increase Achilles tendon health. Yeah, as a person with bad knees, an excess amount of stairs is very challenging. So I like a good ramp too. Dollies is another one. Okay. So this is actually old. It landed. The Starliner made it home. Landed in the desert. Everything's fine. So that's good. And then the astronauts will be back in February. Because that's the thing we do. We just, we take people into space and leave them there. Agentic AI, the next big breakthrough that's transforming business and technology. I'm going to assume it hasn't come up at all in any of the articles, and it's either they got plenty of rations. They can send up like maybe additional deliveries of rations, what have you. Like it's probably not a concern. Or the alternative is they don't, and they're on like strict minimum rations and they don't want to panic anybody. Can't wait for the mainstream media to latch onto the term agentic, and then every product under the sun will be incorrectly using it ad nauseum. You don't want to buy my new agentic AI pencil? DoorDash, right? DoorDash. Agentic AI, the next big breakthrough that's transforming business and technology. The world of artificial intelligence is evolving at a breakneck pace, and just when you thought you'd wrap your head around generative AI, along comes another game changing concept. Agentic AI. This innovative technology is not just another industry buzzword, it's a paradigm shift. Shout out paradigm shift. Um, shout out Marquise for having some just absolutely genius marketing. Is like, and it's reflective of the man himself. What up, Pharaoh? ISS normally has about 6 months of food stored on it. There you go. It's a paradigm shift that's poised to redefine the boundaries of AI capabilities. Let's examine why agentic AI is capturing the attention of tech leaders and how it could potentially reshape the business landscape. At its core, agentic AI refers to artificial intelligence systems that possess a degree of autonomy and can act on their own to achieve specific goals. Unlike traditional AI models that simply respond to prompts or execute predefined tasks, agentic AI can make decisions, plan actions, and even learn from its experiences, all in pursuit of objectives set by its human creators. Agentic AI goes beyond traditional AI by incorporating a chaining capability. This means it can take a sequence of actions in response to a single request, breaking down complex tasks into smaller, manageable steps. For example, when asked to create a website, an agentic AI system would autonomously generate a series of goals. One, develop the website structure and screen layouts. Two, generate content for each page. Three, write the necessary HTML, CSS, and backend code. Four, design visuals and incorporate graphics. Five, test for responsiveness and debug any issues. Think of agentic AI as a digital assistant on steroids. Excuse me. Instead of just answering your questions and performing simple tasks, it can take initiative, solve, solve complex problems, and adapt its approach based on changing circumstances. It's like having a tireless, hyper-intelligent intern who not only follows your instructions, but also anticipates your needs and comes up with creative solutions you might never have considered. And just sit with this as an idea for a moment, if you would be so kind. It's like having a tireless, hyper intelligent intern who not only follows your instructions, but also anticipates your needs and comes up with creative solutions you might never have considered. And yet, somehow, AI is not going to eliminate all the jobs. Somehow there will still be job to do. AI is dead. It's a bubble. We're in the Gartner trough of disillusionment, right? Like we're troughing and disillusioning. Why is agentic AI the latest buzz in tech? The excitement surrounding agentic AI systems, from its potential to revolutionize how we interact with technology and solve complex problems. Here are a few reasons why it's capturing the imagination of tech enthusiasts and business leaders alike. Enhanced autonomy. Agentic AI systems can operate with minimal human intervention, making them ideal for tasks that require continuous monitoring or rapid decision making. 2, improved problem solving. By combining machine learning capabilities with goal-oriented behavior, agentic AI can tackle complex challenges in novel and efficient ways. Adaptability. These systems can adjust their strategies based on new information and changing environments, making them more resilient and effective in dynamic situations. 4, personalization. Agentic AI has the potential to provide highly tailored experiences and solutions, learning from user interactions to better serve individual needs. Scalability. Number 5, once trained, agentic AI systems can be deployed across various applications and industries, potentially transforming entire sectors overnight. And 6, communication skills. Agentic AI can process natural language, confirm expectation, discuss tasks, and demonstrate a degree of reasoning in decision making, making it easier for humans to interact with and direct systems. And this right here, this last bit, is why things like ChatGPT and your mid journeys and everything else are opening the door for more people to be able to use tools and manifest creative, let's say, outputs more easily and like more regularly, and do whatever the hell you want. Like, I don't know, take ChatGPT and Suno and spend a bunch of time creating
E mica naven per rivulene, vita magistus somnum bene, le pevane sine morra, somnia lucem chiamina aurora.
which is an operatic version of Row, Row, Row Your Boat, more or less. Or you can write a song about how
the factory of the future will have only 2 employees, a man and a dog. The man will be there to feed the dog. The dog will be there to keep the man from touching the equipment. The dog will be there to keep the man from touching the equipment. Oh, fucking dog. The dog will be there to keep the man from touching the equipment. Fucking dog.
Like, I don't know where it got into its AI head. Capital dog. Like, I just put in there's a thing, right? And it's attributed to someone who says they weren't the person who first said it, and so on and so forth. But the factory of the future will only have 2 employees, a man and a dog. The man will be there to feed the dog. The dog will be there to keep the man from touching the equipment, right? And it's talking about like the factory of the future and how humans need not apply and all that kind of stuff. And in the process of just putting that into the machine decided, fucking dog. And then one more, and then we'll get back to it. Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, into Latin through ChatGPT, into Suno, gave me this as one example of its output.
Mi care, parva stella minor, quenam sistam bella, super mundum tam sublime, velut gemma in cielo sine. Mi care, parva stella minor, quenam sistam
Wait for it.
Parva stella, mirror, quenam sistam bella, super mundum.
Why is there a crowd? Why is this a live version?
Mi care, parva stella, mirror, quenam sistam bella, super mundum.
Right? Right? Why? It's like some European concert. You know what I mean? Like, why? What? That was fun. It was like, why not? Fuck it. Exactly, right? Like, and you can see the crowd, singing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star in Latin. So yeah, and you're going to be able to use agentic AI in a variety of ways, and he's not wrong, and I appreciate the fact that there are people out there doing it. Yeah, for 38 minutes. What else we got? Doc, you came in late. Did you happen to hear about the fact that Oasis is potentially coming back? We shall see how long they make. That we may have the unified theory, allegedly. Big if true. Nice. Yeah, I am following the doctor.
Kenny Jenks on the court, balling like a sport. He tryna light that flame, swamp weed ain't the same. Hands are getting wet, match is hard to set. Swamp's got its own game, but Kenny ain't no shame. Swish, swish in the hoop, Kenny's on the loop. Swamp weed he can light, but his chop shots tight.
That's good. Yeah, no, I feel you. I feel you. Yeah, no, it's a potentially big deal that we have a unified theory of everything and so on and so forth. It's fucking 2024, baby. Everything is weird and unprecedented. And then there's this. Crystallized alternative DNA structure sheds light on insulin and diabetes. The first crystal structure, is this a... Yeah, this is it. This is a picture, not a artist representation. Crystal of the 4CI motif used in X-ray experiments. The first crystal structure of an alternative DNA shape from the insulin gene has been revealed by a UCL-led research team. DNA is widely accepted to be formed of two strands that wind around each other, known as a double helix, but it's possible for DNA to change shape and structure. Sorry? I've lived my entire life knowing that there is but one way that DNA do, and that is the double helix. And now you're telling me that that is not necessarily the case. The new study, published in Nature Communications, reveals the detail in the structure of a type of DNA called I motif by crystallizing it for the first time. DNA is our genetic material, and structure usually looks a bit like a twisted ladder called the double helix. The shape is iconic, but alternative DNA structures exist and are thought to potentially play a role in the development of genetic diseases such as diabetes and cancer. The researchers were focused on I motif DNA, which has an interlocking structure resembling a knot and was only confirmed to be found in living human cells in 2018. It was previously known that there is a region of DNA in the insulin gene that can fold itself into alternative DNA structures and shapes. It was also known that this region of DNA varies between people. Our work shows that these different variants in sequence fold into different DNA shapes. Scientists employed a crystallography technique that contains a solution containing the DNA, enabling crystals to form, which is an important method for researchers to see the structure of... Hey, I just met you. This is crazy. Here's my number. Call me maybe. Thank you for the follow. Which is an important method for researchers to see the structure of DNA using X-ray crystallography. We were able to crystallize a four-stranded DNA structure called an I motif. Our crystals allowed us to determine exactly what the structure of this DNA looks like using X-rays. This has revealed that certain DNA sequences have special additional interactions which help them form alternative DNA structures more easily. The research team demonstrated that different sequence variants in the insulin gene form different DNA structures, which in turn could affect whether insulin is switched on or off. By demonstrating how the shape of DNA can affect insulin gene function, already known to be critical in diabetes, they hope their findings could guide future research into diabetes treatment. This is wild. As the first crystal structure of this type, the researchers say it will also be useful as a model for other targets in the genome besides the insulin gene, which form this shape of DNA. We got a unified field theory of everything and crystal DNA, and the crystal mommies were right and we were wrong. It's crystals all the way down. Embrace change. Elect RFK. Do not elect RFK. That's more unprecedented than I can handle in 1 year, okay? Shine bright like a diamond. Scientists create record-breaking solar technology that could solve major problem in the industry, among the best reported to date. Oh, no. First of all, welcome in Romeboy Ow, if I'm saying that correctly. Welcome in. We have a saying around these parts called everything is weird and unprecedented. We have made signs. We are embracing the change as much as we can. Scientists at the Hong Kong Institute of Science and Technology have developed a new treatment that prolongs the life and efficiency of solar cells. According to Aman Tripathi of Interesting Engineering, the researchers have created a molecular treatment for perovskite solar cells that increases their power conversion efficiency by over 20%, and it has shown an operational stability of over 1,500 hours. While solar cells are typically made of silicon, perovskite has been gaining popularity in recent years because it is cheaper and has a higher energy efficiency than silicon. The problem is the stability and tendency to degrade more quickly than silicon counterparts. In an effort to solve the problem, the Hong Kong research team focused on a process known as passivation, which is in which a chemical compound is applied to the perovskite to reduce defects and improve overall performance. Does Romeboy works? Cool. And it certainly is so weird and unprecedented. I don't think my non-hyper nerdy friends understand what is simmering right now and moving to a boil. Welcome in. We have gathered in this space because we are of those people as well. Like among my group of friends, when it comes to like artificial intelligence, there's like and how much you talk about this stuff. There's me, and then my friend J Mart, and then it drops off a goddamn cliff. And there's like a couple who like play around with stuff, and then and yes, I feel you. We are and this is a great thing about the internet is we can find each other. Passivation. These devices reached high open circuit voltages beyond 90% of the thermodynamic limit. Benchmarking against 1,700 sets of data from existing literature showed that their result was among the best reported to date in terms of efficiency and energy conversion. Passivation is highly scalable, meaning it can easily be ramped up to industrial levels and can be affordably produced at that scale of production. Holy shit. Solar energy is booming globally. In the US, solar power accounted for almost 80% of new energy production in 2024 on an industrial scale. On a smaller scale, rooftop solar panels are popping up everywhere from vodka distilleries to new built homes. Finding a way to improve solar panels' affordability and efficiency could help meet growing demand. So what they're saying is we could see a boom in more affordable, efficient, and durable panels around the world when we already have like the cost per watt hour of solar has dropped off by like 99%. So that's what we're looking at. Where you're gonna improve on 99%. Let's just everywhere. Just start putting them in. Let's get on it. Okay. Going back to school. Going back to school. There's a fix for AI generated essays. Why aren't we using it? ChatGPT didn't write this, and I can prove it. It's the start of the school year, and thus the start of a fresh round of discourse on generative AI's new role in schools. In the space of about 3 years, essays have gone from a mainstay of classroom education everywhere to a much less useful tool. For one reason, ChatGPT. Estimates of how many students use ChatGPT for essays vary, but it's commonplace enough to force teachers to adapt. While generative AI has many limitations, student essays fall into the category of services that they're very good at. There's lots of examples of essays on the assigned topics in their training data. There's demand for an enormous volume of such essays, and the standards for prose quality and original research in student essays are not all that high. Right now, cheating on essays via the use of AI tools is hard to catch. A number of tools advertise they can verify that text is AI generated, but they are not very reliable. Since falsely accusing students of plagiarism is a big deal, these tools would have to be extremely accurate to work at all, and they simply aren't. AI fingerprinting with technology, but there's a technical solution here. Back in 2022, a team at OpenAI, led by quantum computing researcher Scott Aronson, developed a watermarking solution that makes AI text virtually unmistakable, even if the end user changes a few words here and there or rearranges text. Solution is a bit technically complicated, but bear with me because it's also very interesting. At its core, the way that AI text generation works is that the AI guesses, I would not have used that word, but go ahead, a bunch of possible next tokens given what appears in the text so far. In order not to be overly predictable and produce the same repetitive output constantly, AI models don't just guess the most probable token. Thank you. Like, why did you do it that way, right? You said guesses, but then you say they don't just guess, right? Like, you're part of the problem. Think about it. Anyways, instead, they include an element of randomization favoring more likely completions and sometimes selecting a less likely one. The watermarking works at this stage. Instead of having the AI generate the next token according to random selection, it has the AI use a non random process, favoring next tokens that get a high score in an internal scoring function OpenAI invented. It might, for example, favor words with the letter V just slightly, so that text generated with this scoring rule will have 20% more V's than normal human text, though the actual scoring functions are more complicated than that. Readers wouldn't normally notice this. In fact, I edited this newsletter to increase the number of V's in it, and I doubt this variation in my normal writing stood out. Similarly, the watermark text will not, at a glance, be different from normal AI output, but it would be straightforward for OpenAI, which knows the secret scoring rule, to evaluate whether a given body of text gets a much higher score on that hidden scoring rule than human generated text ever would. If, for example, the scoring rule were above For my above example about the letter V, you could run this newsletter through a verification program and see that it has about 90 V's in 1,200 words, more than you'd expect based on how often V is used in English. It's a clever, technically sophisticated solution to a hard problem, and one, excuse me, I'm dying again. And OpenAI has had a working prototype for 2 years. I mean, it's clever as shit, right? Like, it's kind of like a cipher, not in the rap sense, but in the code breaking sense. But I can see a flaw in it off jump, and the smarter people in the audience, smarter than me, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but this would require everyone to be using the same tool, right? The same scoring rule. Otherwise, I could take an output from ChatGPT. These aren't particularly good ones. Right? Like here's an output for from ChatGPT, and I just copy it, and then I go to Claude, and then I ask Claude, can you please rewrite this changing the tone but not the content. Did I not copy it? Did I fail? Did I fail? In the future, the agent will do it for me. Why is it not copying? Da da da. There we go. Why is Claude being weird now? Everything is weirdo. Everything is strange when you're part of a team. Can you please rewrite this changing the tone but not the content? Right, so the original, the statement you're referring to, the factory of the future will only have 2 employees, a man and a dog, is typically used to illustrate the interesting role of automation in industry. And Claude's version, that old chestnut about the factory of the future. Just a man and a dog, eh? It's a classic bit of tongue-in-cheek commentary on the relentless march of automation. Right? So that, like, wouldn't this relatively simple process that I made infinitely more complex by my own inadequacies, wouldn't this get around the tool unless everybody was on the same thing? So it's all about competition. If OpenAI and only OpenAI released a watermarking system for ChatGPT, making it easy to tell when ChatGPT, not generative AI, but ChatGPT, had produced a text, this wouldn't affect student essay plagiarism in the slightest. Word would get out fast, and everyone would just switch over to one of the many AI options available today. Meta's Llama, Claude, Gemini. Plagiarism would continue unabated, and OpenAI would lose a lot of its user base. No, again, you're jumping to a conclusion that's not in evidence. Like, I can use ChatGPT to write the thing and then just copy paste it to be rewritten by another thing. It's not going to lose the user base. Maybe, right? Like, but it's not in evidence. So it's not shocking they would keep their watermarking system under wraps. In a situation like this, it might be appropriate for regulators to step in. If every generative AI system is required to have watermarking, then it's not a competitive disadvantage. This is the logic behind a bill introduced this year in the California State Assembly, known as the California Digital Content Provenance Standards, which would require generative AI providers to make their AI generated content detectable, along with requiring providers to label generative AI and remove deceptive content. Again, so then I go to opensource.differentai.com or some shit, and I use that model, which as an open source model and is available outside of the rules of California, allows me to do the same thing. This is not a solution. This is a bunch of talk. But this is not an actual solution to the problem. There is no actual solution to the problem. It's language. Like, it is. It's not deceptive, it's art. What up, Bargator J? Yeah, like I don't get it, right? Like, you're not actually solving the problem, you're working on symptoms. Though I'd like some kind of watermarking obligation, I'm not sure it's possible to implement. The best of the open AI models that have been released, models you can run yourself on your own computer, are very high quality. Certainly good enough for student essays. Exactly. They're already out there, and there's no way to go back and add watermarking to them because anyone can run the current versions, whatever updates are applied to future versions. Right? Like, you could just have a rewrite my shit AI that's all it does, right? Like, it doesn't have to be you don't have to really worry about hallucinations. You can just you enter into your rag a whole bunch of your style of writing and whatever you decide your style of writing is, and then from that point on it just produces that for you, so you can use the tools, and then through this secret technique of Control C Control V, be able to bypass all your watermarking nonsense. This is not a solution. This is among the many ways I have complicated feelings around open models. They enable an enormous amount of creativity, research, and discovery, and they also make it impossible to do all kinds of common sense anti-impersonation or anti... I'm not reading that, because that's how you get demonetized. But yeah. And again, you have to attack that shit at its source. You don't attack it at, like, if someone uses other than for like political satire, these kind of things, which are protected speech, unprotected speech that negatively impacts people, is like something that you can go, like if you use Taylor Swift to sell your line of mineral supplements without Taylor Swift's permission, then you are ultimately responsible for that and are going to be held accountable through existing law, right? Through existing regulation. We don't need necessarily, I'm not saying that we don't need special AI regulations, because in some cases we absolutely do. But the examples that people give of why we need special AI regulations are not examples of that. We have existing laws in place to do that. So all we have to do is enforce the existing laws, and we can use AI to help. AI could scan the internet. Like Facebook, Meta could go ahead and scan Facebook for whatever the hell it wants to, right? Keywords, right? Using old tech, it can do keywords. Is this misinformation? If it uses these keywords and contextually uses them in a way that is misinformation, then you could just do that and then they could remove it from their platform. They choose not to because misinformation drives engagement. I was thinking along the lines of encoding watermarks as included text and could show up as things like strange superlatives. This, I think you came in after they started. Their example was increasing the use of words with the letter V beyond what is normally probabilistically occurring in the course of writing in English, right? So, like, as an example, there's 90 V's in this 1,200 words, which are more than you'd expect based on how often V is used in English. So, yeah, like, it sounds good, but then I just take this and run it through Claude and get Claude to, use a normal amount of V's, and now I've defeated your watermark. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm not in I don't say this to be like, oh, idea bad and whatever. It's like, take a minute, take your idea and flip it on its head and try to figure out by what process you would defeat your tool. And that will teach you something, right? Like, that's, or or open up friggin' ChatGPT and say, hi, how can I help? Hi, how can I? This is disturbing. Oh. Did you just update something? Are you actually giving me something new? Which would be cool and not just, oh shit. We might have an update. Do. Sorry. We got 2-factor authentication kicking in. I can't even remember where I was going with that. Please hold. You could ask ChatGPT, how could I defeat an AI watermarking system that increased the number of V's in an essay, comma, hypothetically. I spelled hypothetically wrong. Hypothetically, to defeat an AI watermarking system that adds more V's to an essay, you could employ several strategies. And these would likely involve identifying, removing, or diluting the watermarking signal. Here are a few approaches, right? So here are five, maybe more, five different examples of how you could defeat the watermarking system suggested by the person in the article. This is your flaw. This is your flaw. You're not going to beat it this way. You have to attack the underlying problems. You have to address the underlying conditions. If you don't address the and I say this across the board, right? This is consistent with the way that, you know, I talk about all these things. The idea of addressing symptoms all the time prevents you from actually addressing the problem. You have to address the underlying condition. When you address the underlying condition, then you actually can resolve the problem. But playing around here, dicking around on the edges, you are not going to get an actual solution. Okay. As per usual, we didn't get through all of the news, but we got through a good portion of it. Alternatively, flipping it on its head, how to encode human-generated essays to include watermarks. I mean, like, without thinking about it, is that something that we could do? Is that something we even want to do? Right? Who up microwaving their cheesecake? Right now I'm thinking Zach. It's been a minute since I rated Zach. I'm gonna raid y'all over to Zach. Stick around for the raid, even if you have someplace else to be. Even though some of you have already left, and I'm mad disappointed. But they can't hear me, so it doesn't matter. I'm not mad disappointed. You do you, boo. But if you want to support the stream, make me look like Big Song Streamer, you gotta stick around for the raids. Oh, is this a guy?
And again, that flower head just matures into a head of...
This guy that he's currently watching is this whole, he's got that New York type accent there, and he swears a lot, but he's talking about the botany. He's like, look at this fucking flower head over here. It's fucking beautiful, you know? I love this fucking guy. And he's like technically, you know, like he knows what the fuck he's talking about. Anyhow, I'll be back at 5 p.m. Eastern to do the videos. That's about it. So, in the meantime, drink your water, eat some food, take your meds if you've forgotten. Always remember that Shaggy loves you, and so do I. Be great.